All right, so welcome to the show for the second time in a row. The guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mary Lady Diaz. So this episode is a special episode because we're sitting here drinking our morning coffee. If people don't know, we are the it couple of society. So we are together. We are a couple. We wake up together, and that's great every day.
Yeah, it's totally great.
So, listen, you talk way too loud, okay? So, if you could stop, I'm seeing you spike right now in your vocals. So, if you could tone it down a little bit, Miss Loudspeaker. That's like Seinfeld. She's a low talker. So we're talking, and you have a paper due. When is it due?
It's I think due today.
Is it due today?
Yeah, it is.
At 12 midnight?
Yeah.
Now, is this one of your papers was due yesterday and you have a day grace period?
No. I do have a day grace period, but I have not used it yet. So technically it's due tomorrow, but I'm telling myself it's due today.
Okay. And so this is that's a good thing because you're giving yourself, if you just say it's due today, then you're going to get it done today.
Yeah.
Or at least a majority of it done today.
And I also need to make a 2-minute video presentation.
Of your...
narrating, which seems completely...
Narrating your...
Yeah. I have to, do a 2-minute video narrating parts of my paper.
Okay.
Which is fun, I guess.
You did good last time doing that. I remember you had to...
I had to record it, though, probably 10 times.
I was in the middle of my slumber while you were recording it in our room, and that was funny because I heard, "Hello, I'm Mary Lady Diaz," like 15 times.
Yeah.
And you're like, no.
It was so bad.
But you did good, and your teacher used you as an example, right? For that?
Yeah, what not to do.
So cool. So this episode, I was like, let's start recording because you said you were going to get up at 6 o'clock today.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Hold on. Let me ask you questions. This is my show. Did you get up at 6 o'clock today?
I did not get up at 6 o'clock, but because I didn't want to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But technically, you didn't get up because you didn't want to. That's good. Technically, you did get up at 6 o'clock.
Yeah. Well,
because you set an alarm for 6.
I did.
And you got up to...
snooze.
Okay.
And then when I realized I really wasn't getting up, I turned off the alarm.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, because these are all good questions. So to preface this, I started to say, we were talking and you were saying, I have my paper due today. You also have work today at noon.
Yeah.
So you had your paper
I'm a
today.
busy girl.
You're a very busy girl. So you said, I'm going to wake up early and do my paper.
Well, I went to sleep late.
Yeah, you did. We were out with our friends and their children, and that was a beautiful time.
It was.
And,
those kids could hang.
They could hang, man. They're all hopped up on Mountain Dew and ice cream, baby. So you got to bed a little late, but you still thought you were going to wake up.
Yeah.
At a good time at 6. And so, but let me just preface this by saying we're talking 5 minutes ago, and you're talking about you need to do your paper, but you're not talking about anything about your paper. We're just talking about life and stuff.
And that's me working through it.
Once again.
Yeah.
I'm the host of this. Can you please just
somebody arrest this guy?
Keep your comments to yourself, please, and just wait to be spoken to, please. I appreciate it. So I'm like, oh, let's record a procrastination podcast.
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be titled The Procrastination.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. When you're about to do something, why do you procrastinate so much?
I don't know. I like to procrastinate.
Yeah.
I am one of those people, sick freaks, that, to use your word, to quote you directly.
You're a sick freak,
yeah,
for sure. Yeah.
That I need to feel the pressure of, I have 10 minutes left to submit this paper in order for me to get up and do it. Not 10 minutes, but I don't know. It's not that I do like procrastinating. It's not that I want to be this way, but it's just, it makes things interesting, I think, for me, maybe. it's not fun. Like, okay, when you were in school, did you, I do plan out my papers, and I do get things done before I need to sit and write. So there is some planning going on. It's not just me sitting down randomly and just doing it without any context, But I definitely wait a while before I do it. How about you? Like, do you have a plan for when you're writing a paper? Do you maybe finish it the week before and structure your stuff out? And
I do. Well, this when I was in school the first time for college. Forget it. Let's not talk about high school.
Yeah, let's forget
because
that.
I just didn't do my assignments, really.
Yeah.
And when I did them very last minute. But I would say that college was very similar to that in the sense that I just didn't. We had an assigned reading. I didn't do the assigned reading, really. I didn't do.
Those high school teachers were right.
Yeah, they were.
Damn you, Miss Thompson.
Well, it's just funny because you are a great student. You've always been a great student. It's so funny because this is our second podcast and we're talking about school. But
it's millennial like talk. I think school is a big part of our lives.
It definitely is. That's
even though I'm on the cusp, guys.
What are you on the cusp
of millennial and Gen Z. And
I think they call them zillennials.
I'm a zillennial, which makes me better than everybody.
Yeah, zillennials and exlennials. Those are Gen X and Gen millennials. But you're a zillennial for sure. Yeah.
So I'm bringing perspective to this podcast. That's what I'm doing.
You are, for sure. But, well, I feel like Gen Z actually is more of a... Gen Z...
School-oriented group. Yeah.
Yes, had a school orientation kind of outlook on life because you got, like, Gen Z, I feel, was the first, like, the generation to get out of school and actually just go into things, where millennial is probably a mixture of fantasy world, nostalgia fantasy world, where our parents, you'll hear a lot of millennials say this, you could do anything, but didn't really give us any kind of guidance. So we're just like, we're going to be unicorns in the field.
Oh, I love that, though.
And we still are, very much. A lot of us are in the field pretending to be unicorns.
But which is great. It's totally great. For Gen Z, we were told, I mean, they're still Gen Z, I think, probably graduating now from high school, but at least my older generation of...
Gen Z?
My older generation of Gen Z was told to be engineers, doctors, and then now it's the business finance that Gen Z are being pushed towards, but when I was in high school, it was engineer. And, it was... go for the big salary jobs. That's what it was.
Yeah, I mean, if still very much is like that, I would say now, like after Gen Z, maybe whatever that is, Gen Alpha, whatever it is now, is probably computer
science.
AI,
computer science was also a big thing for my generation.
It
was starting out. It wasn't probably now more than like the younger Gen Zs that are
like cybersecurity, all that kind of good stuff too, or anything dealing with technology, honestly. And I actually do wonder about that sometimes because I'm like, I always see videos of older people talking about their kids and stuff, or motivational people. Oh, if you're not doing this, if you're not doing technology or AI science or this, you're in the past, man. You're already at a disadvantage. And then that always makes me think, and either we talked about this last podcast or I just remember talking about this in general. I just think, like, because everybody's putting all their energy towards something, that's going to make the thing more prevalent in the world, instead of saying, oh, hey, maybe we could pivot and do this.
Yeah.
Maybe more artistic, more of a philosophical, more of a thought process. Stop and maybe think of ideas and what we're doing rather than, oh, this is the easiest, most accessible thing to make $1 million or make progress,
but
quote unquote.
I think just naturally, I think the world balances itself out where it needs people who are thinking about the philosophical or artistic perspective, because there there's always going to be these questions that we have about the ethics of what we're doing. And I think that I think the people who sit with those questions and think about them and give answers, or or give a different perspective, are the artists and the philosophers of our society. I think there's always going to be a need for that. I think it just obviously becomes obscured when there is like a common goal for society, where it wants to move in one direction and it wants all its people to move in that direction. But I think just the nature of our reality, I think there is always going to be these different perspectives that need to come to light in order to make us feel like we're human, I think that's a big part of it. I think as long as we hold on to our humanity, I think we'll be okay.
It's funny because I think that hasn't changed throughout human history at all. Even prehistory, all of that is, you have people asking the same question over and over again. If you read a writer from early 1900 America, what's his name, Walden, what's that,
like late 1800s,
about, I'm done with society, I'm going into the middle of the forest to just make my house. That's exactly what people are saying right now. Right this second.
No, exactly. That's what's happening. That's what I mean. Like, there's always going to be this shift that is happening. It's just really, I think, moving with the tides, I guess with the way I'm trying to use surfing analogy, guys. I've never surfed in my life.
Can I just hold on? Can you remember that thought?
Yeah.
Because I just saw a quick video, like a short yesterday, and it was like cool girl showing you their room, and she was like painting right there, surfboard right here, and then she jumps sideways on her, like she's riding her surfboard. And that just reminded me of that.
Yeah, that's absolutely me. But I really do think it's just about moving with. I really do think it is about moving with your own inner guidance, like your own inner compass. I think that that's the thing that makes the world a better place. When everybody decides that, when each individual decides that, yes, I'm a part of society, but also there are these intuitions or these inclinations about, I don't know, beauty and harmony and whatever the ideas are that I have, and I want to share that with the world. I think that that's really important. And I do see people doing that outside of it. Like, when you look at what people are doing on the internet, it is really interesting too. But it can definitely make you feel like everybody just thinks the same way, or everybody wants the same things, or everybody reads the same books, or enjoys the same content, or it really makes you feel that way because it's made that way. It's an algorithm. It's made to cater to what you think everybody sees and wants. And so I think when you do step outside of that, you get a different perspective about life, and I think that's really cool.
That is so true, and that's actually something that I think about when I do this podcast. Specifically, I always talk about, and if you ask me, I always say I do this in this way because this is how I feel like doing it. And whether that makes it stunts its, I use quote unquote a lot, stunts its growth, quote unquote, like maybe less people see it, maybe it doesn't reach this crazy audience that everybody's looking for. I still like to do it this way because I don't necessarily think the what's out there on the internet all the time is even with the numbers. Like, that's how we look at things now. Like, oh, how much in numbers does it do? How much money do you make? How much views do you have?
Even when you Google something, there's so much information in libraries that you just can't find on Google.
Oh yeah.
It's just a completely different world when you enter a library and do research on your own rather than Googling something. And we think, oh, it's every every sort of information that I can ever possibly want, is on Google. There's a lot on there, like a whole lot, but it's not everything.
Well, things get buried.
Yeah.
So you could read a book, a real source for books. That's why I love physical copies of things, because you read the physical copy of something and you're doing your studies and you're like, wait, this is saying this. And then you get to kind of form your own ideas and theories on these facts.
Yeah.
The facts that are there, that you're getting spit out when you look at the internet version of it, which is now, by the way, the first thing you see is the AI generated answer for something.
Which is good. It's a summary, right?
But sometimes it's wrong, though.
Sometimes it's wrong.
Yeah.
Which is, it's, I guess that's part of it, right? Part of the technology.
Yeah.
It's not always right. And it is a summary. And it's probably because I am a bit younger. I don't necessarily have a completely negative outlook on AI technology. I definitely do believe that it can be used as a source and as a tool to guide you in a particular direction, or to give you some insight into something that you're interested in, to maybe push you in a certain direction, and just for exploration. Like, I think it can be used for exploration. But that's just, I guess, up to the individual and how they use it. Because I really do think it's here. It's like, it's opening the Pandora box sort of thing. It's not, I don't think we can lock it away and just pretend it was never here. I think it is going to be part of our world somehow, but it's just, how do we integrate it? I mean, obviously there are people who are resisting it completely. There are people who really don't welcome much technology into their life. But I think when we're looking at more broad strokes and seeing the whole picture, I think it is here to stay, really. And again, I don't have a completely negative outlook on it. I think it can be used as a tool. It's just so new.
Well, it's also, I mean, it is a tool regardless. It is. I think that's the truth. I would say that the problem isn't if it's here to stay or not. It is here to stay. Like, see, a lot of these things are we just say these things and we just hear these things echoed, I think, over and over again. Like, you say, people like, oh, you're gonna have to do this one day, you're gonna have to do this, like the chip in your head. Oh, it's just inevitable, you're gonna have to get it. Well, there's a choice. You could get it, and it could be great for some people. Some people might love it, and then other people will not want it, so that's something. And that's another tool that could do beautiful things. Like, I think, I'm not sure, but the guy, he got the Neuralink chip, and he was like a paraplegic or something. So, and I believe it helps him. I don't know. I really don't know about that, but it definitely has its benefits. I think I think anything like AI, anything that becomes mandatory for people to do is going to be very difficult for them. And let's stick with the arts, right? With AI specifically, it could be a tool, right? But also, you could have AI write movies and direct movies. We'll stick with movies. I'm a movie guy, right? And music too. But also, let's stick with movies for a second. It's very interesting because movies right now, the way they've become, sometimes you can't see the difference between an AI movie or an AI little short movie that your AI can make, throw your face on an action hero and make a movie, a little short movie out of it, which I've seen a lot of those kind of videos with people. And
I think even probably in the script writing process or the planning, pre-production, I think AI is probably being used, especially for big budget films.
Well, what I was going to say was,
or maybe small budget films, because it's so accessible now.
Well, what I'm saying is this, though. Well, number one, that's a very good philosophical thought. I don't particularly like that in art at all, really, in my opinion. I guess I'm a purist in that way. But for instance, the track that I was going on was, you're not going to see a big difference in big budget movies, especially if it's like big action scenes with a lot of CGI and a lot of quick cutting and stuff. With AI, what AI could do, and what people are doing with these massive, not really thought out human things, films.
But do you think that there is an area of art that is AI art? Do you think that that's a thing?
I think it could be, it is a thing, and it can be a thing. Like, you could start generating things, and like, who has the best generated art or whatever, but that's something different. That's very different than somebody sitting down and painting or sculpting. And the more and more people go into AI stuff and AI art, and for instance, just to stick with the filmmaking aspect of it, again, going back to that, you said pre-production, this and this and this. While that's easier and more accessible, that's still people not working on craft and not being able to do things. I think especially art is a human thing. So the more, it's an expression thing. So the less you express yourself out of yourself, the more it kind of is getting robotic. It is getting artificial in a way, you could say, and the less people are.
Do you think the people who are creating these programs for AI or training AI are not doing something that is artistic in a way? They're literally creating an artificial human consciousness.
Yeah. I mean, that is an art. Yeah, it's an art that they're doing that. It's the implementation of the thing, in my opinion. I'm not saying that it's wrong or you shouldn't do it, but I think that the more people go down the AI rabbit hole of like making AI things, I think it's an extension of social media, because social media has AI now all the time. So you could literally create AI videos on social media,
Yeah.
and put them up. And
I don't think it's the same as social media, though.
No, but it's not the same as social media, but it's an extension, and it actually might be going down the inevitably worser path. It can be, because it could be good, like you said. It has its benefits. It's a tool, but it could also be used bad. Where now all day you're on your social media creating fake videos of yourself doing things, because now AI makes it so much more entertaining. Now you're literally creating a fake world, not just taking pictures of yourself
or a virtual world.
Exactly, but that is an artificial world. Regardless, that's not the physical. It's not the physical world. It's artificial.
So
it's
only
virtual
so
reality.
only the
It's virtual.
so only the physical world is the real world.
Yeah.
So how about the untangible spiritual?
But that's a dimensional world. See,
you don't think we're tapping into a different dimension when we are creating virtual reality?
I think all the dimensions will link to each other, but this is so. I'll put to you. That's a very good. This is a deeper philosophical question, but I'll put it to you like this. This is my thought process, and I could be wrong. People that want to go into cryogenic chambers when they die, take my brain, put it in a vat, right? And then when we get the technology, take it out and put it into a body, and now I'm back living. That's not going to happen for me. That's not. I think we're trying to outlive, and we're trying to artificially create our lives in a different way that is meant to go. We're meant to not do it physically, but we're meant to do it spiritually.
Do you think that that's part of the human experience, though?
What?
Creating these, I think, creating artificial experiences, or creating something that's removed from the material world, something that somehow gets us out of that material world, that material existence, the ideas of limitation, suffering, death.
No, I think that gets us out of that.
isn't that part of the human experience where we've always tried to create things that get us out of the realities of human existence?
But that doesn't mean it's good, though. Just because we do it doesn't mean it's good. For instance,
like even Buddhism, life is suffering.
Mm-hmm.
Suffering is caused by desire. Desire must be overcome. In order to, when desire is overcome, there's no more suffering. Isn't that part of the core of the human quest to overcome suffering somehow, somewhere?
No, but no, it's not. Because that's very interesting that you bring that up, because Buddhism isn't telling you to go make artificial things in the world. They're telling you to go inward and do that inwardly. You can't, your desire, you have to overcome desire, not go out there and make a VR thing so you could live in your comforts and forget about death and forget about all this stuff, but to go inward and to get over all of this, purge all of these desires and pain and suffering, purge all this stuff, and you have to go inward. You can't go outward and do that. And I believe that the further and further we get from nature, the further and further we start to act weird. That's why you see people probably in big cities acting a little stranger than people that live in the forest, or it's very...
I think that's very subjective. I think it really depends on who's looking at them.
I mean, I think there's... I think that...
If a hairy man encounters me in the forest and, hey, do you want to come to my off-the-grid cabin? I'm going to be like, this guy might be a little weird.
Yeah, for sure. It could be a little weird. But yeah, no, I do think that the further and further we get into our technologies and we build our homes and we go away from nature, we are part of nature. So the fact that
I don't think we could ever get out of nature.
No, but we could build these houses and we could build these virtual places.
But we're still in nature.
But why? But no, we're not, because why are young kids depressed now? Why is everybody socially awkward now? Why can't people go to social events? We're social creatures. These big buildings that we do, these antennas, all of this stuff around us, not to say, like you said, this could be a tool, not to say some stuff isn't good, but is the rate that we're doing it healthy? I would say probably not, honestly. That's my own opinion, To say living in the city, you're going to have more health, it's better for your health than living around trees, I don't think it's true. Mm-hmm. I think living around trees, being in nature is healthier for you. It's literally your life force, your oxygen. Your body's cleaning itself, you're smelling the fresh green.
I think you're describing the Garden of Eden right now. And I think that's always in our psyche. The idea of returning to a Garden of Eden, an eternal world where everything is beautiful and there are trees and we're interacting with nature and symbiotic ways and we're harmonious with the world around us. But I do think, not saying that there is no paradise, I'm not saying that there isn't, but I do think that part of human existence is seeing the changes in the world and seeing the changes in society. And I think a lot can be gained from that as well. I think we're not in the garden anymore. We've been expelled from the garden so that we may have this experience. I don't believe that it was done because we're awful sinners. I don't believe that. I believe that we had questions and God was like, all right, you have questions, go out and figure it out. Go out and think, go out and experience, go out and feel pain, go out and suffer and see what happens, see what comes out of it. And I think that is our world in a way.
That's our world in a sense of that's what's going on in the world. But once again, like when you go into the forest, when you go to a place like Vermont, you're saying you feel the same that you feel when you're in the city?
I don't.
Exactly. So when you're in
yet I'm here.
Yet you're here. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing though, but that's a psychological thing, and we all have choices, right? So when you're in there, you're around trees, you're around nature, you feel better.
But I know if I lived there, there would be different reality, like a different like reality that I would have to confront. Now it's colder. Maybe resources are scarcer. Maybe I have to worry about heating in a way that I've never worried about it before.
Those are harder things. But that's when you go back. And I'm gonna go back to what you just said. Suffering. That's the real suffering. Us as people. And now we've overcome that so much here. We just have
I do think we're suffering, though. Sorry, in a different way now.
We are suffering in a different way, but to go back to what you said about virtual reality and all that stuff, and you associated that to Buddhism, that's the thing that people, I think that's the big mistake that we're making as a society, in all honesty, is we think that these outside things are going to heal us inside, and that's the complete...
But the Buddha was outside.
What do you mean the Buddha was outside?
He was a person in the world.
Yeah, but he was going inward, though. This is what I'm saying to you.
He went outward first.
He's a physical being, yes.
Yeah,
yes,
and he was like, I'm leaving my palace. I'm leaving my, comfortable upbringing. I'm leaving all this aside, and I'm going to see what the world is like.
But he's leaving what people are trying to build more and more of to try to be into a Buddhist
well,
state.
Well, he doesn't know that though. But he doesn't know what he's leaving or going into. He just knows that life is comfort.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying though. That life is comfort. That's what people are trying to make. That's what people are trying to make with virtual reality, with all of these things, literally like the heating, the AC, the heating, all that stuff. People don't want to be uncomfortable anymore. Including us in society, we don't. And when you're talking about the like going into the middle of like Vermont, like going into like, oh, I'll never have to worry about heating, like I have to worry about if I live there. And no,
it's just a different way. Now here I have to make sure I pay my bill so I can get heating.
Exactly.
But in Vermont it might be a different experience where I'm like, okay, now I have to make sure we have enough wood if we have a wood burning fire. It's just a different experience of reality.
And I think the closer you get to the nature part of things to actually survive, the healthier it is mentally, I would say. I think the further you get away from that, mentally it starts to get a lot harder because, and we could talk about theories and stuff, but like Viktor Frankl, his theory, the guy who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, he was a Jewish guy in concentration camp, and then he got out. But the whole time, you have to find your meaning. His kind of philosophy is you have to find your meaning of life yourself. And now, since the world is so comfortable, what is your meaning of life?
What if someone's meaning is creating a virtual world?
I mean, that could be. It could be. Listen, I'm not here to judge anybody's meaning. That could be beautiful for them. That could be what their meaning is for them, a beauty. Like I said, like if you're whatever it is, if you're crippled or you can't move or whatever, and virtual reality is the best thing for you, living inside, playing video games, whatever, I'm not here to say that that's wrong for you. Mm-hmm. But for me, what I see is, I think for the most part, the world, we have to go in as people. Like, once again, bring up the Buddha, bringing up that, and to go outside, like AI and all that stuff, to entrench yourself in it.
But that's the thing. I feel like you have to know things in order to transcend them. Like, I think you have to know what it is that you're even avoiding or trying not to entrench yourself in. I feel like you can like know it's. I think it's
entrenching yourself in.
I think it's important to see things and to see things play out. And I really don't think that there is much. It's not that I don't think that we can do anything about it, but I do believe that this experience, at least, is cyclical. And I think that things move in a circle. And I think that there isn't maybe a spiral. I don't know. But it moves in some non-linear direction. But I don't know. I think that part of this human incarnation is being part of this dance and this cycle that we're in right now. And I don't know exactly what that means for society. I don't know what it means for people, but it really just feels like people are trying to understand this world, and they're trying to understand the direction that it's moving in, and they're trying to find a place for themselves in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with that sentiment. I think I think it is harder now, man. I really do, because I just do think that it's funny. Put on a theory hat. I don't know. This technology could have existed millions of years ago. We don't know.
Probably, most likely,
or some version of it decimated,
mm-hmm.
and now we've recreated it in some way.
Mm-hmm. But now it's AI.
Yeah, but what I'm gonna say is, I think it's very difficult for people to figure out anything now in the world, because I do think that with these devices that we have now, AI, our phones, technology in general, it does suck our ability to go inward a little bit away. It can. It could be a tool, very much so. It could be beneficial, but it also could be something that draws us more and more away from ourselves. And I think ultimately you do have to go inside to figure out things of the world and understand this existence. Yeah. Yes, we have technology. Yes, you could be on Instagram. You could be on all this stuff. I'm not talking shit about anything. And I don't think one way of living is correct for anybody specifically. I'm talking obviously in general terms here. So that's where it gets a little convoluted, because it does sound like I'm saying that, I guess, just for me. But I do also think that it is very hard now for people to do that, because now we're just consumed if we're not conscious, and yes, we have to experience the world, but is experiencing the world going on our phones 24 hours a day, 7 days a week? That's where we have to, including myself. But some people it is, but that doesn't mean it's right, though. They are doing that.
Or wrong.
It's not wrong or right, but then I'll put it to you this way: they're not going to figure out the world unless they have to break out of that. We have to break out of that to figure out the world.
I'm a sole believer that in this idea. I think that sometimes we have to be drawn away from ourselves in order to discover who we are and what we want. And I do think we get more than one lifetime to figure that out. And I do think that no matter how each individual is living, or what they're choosing to do, or how they're choosing to interact with technology, I think that ultimately we always come back to ourselves in one way or another, whether that's death, theory. Whether that's reincarnation, whether that's religion. Think about Christians who convert, or who see the light. It isn't, for a lot of people who make that big change in their lives, it's because they've been drawn so far away from themselves that they're like, Jesus spoke to me, God spoke to me and was like, hey man, if you keep living like this, you're gonna die. So I think that whatever self-discovery, whatever knowledge people will have about their lives or their experience, I think it's going to come in those sorts of moments where they have these big ideas and these big realizations about who they are and what they want. And I feel like that's just how humans, I think that's just how we operate. We do things, we're creatures of habit. We do things over and over and over again, and we can kind of form these habits and these ideas about ourselves and about the world until, one day we're like, we get the news, and we're like, oh shit, I can't keep living this way. I have to change something about myself, and I have to change the way that I see other people, and I have to really work on my relationships. And I guess I'm a very optimistic believer in that can happen or will happen for anyone, anywhere. No matter what circumstances they find themselves in. I think that everybody has the potential to transform and change. I don't think it always looks great or always feels great. I don't think it's this beautiful, perfect thing. I think it does have an impact that isn't just positive, but I do think that I really do trust in each individual's ability to transform their lives and to live in the ways that they want to. Even it's sometimes, you know, that requires otherworldly supernatural intervention, but I do think that it's possible.
Yeah, I mean that's a great thought. You know, it's very cyclical, I guess, right? Like everything's a cycle. So it's just like we die, we reborn, we die, we be reborn, and that is a really good. What is it called? You just said. Oh man, what is it called when you're not pessimistic but you're
Optimistic.
Thank you. Oh my god, I can think about pessimism all I want. But yeah, it's very optimistic. Yeah, and
I'm very optimistic.
I think that is good, and I think that no matter what, that's what I'm saying. I think that divinity and that spiritual that calling, I think that comes to all of us. That's why I think that when you said that, whether that's, you know, a divine calling to you,
or inspiration, whatever.
But I think that always does come from a higher power. I think that's and that if you want to call it God,
or an inner power.
But it's connected though. That's what I'm saying. It's the connected, the inner and the out, the inner, the higher, the our source to ourselves is connected. That's what my thoughts are. But that it is inner. You have to go inward first. Even if God talks to you, you have to have that inside of you to be able to receive it. You know, and that's the beautiful balance and the beautiful connection. Yeah.
I think we all have that whatever technology we've been embedded with by our creator to receive the messages, you know, whether we always acknowledge them or not. I think they're always there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I think that's a beautiful way to end it right there.
Yeah.
Great job.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the symposium. Do you feel a little bit better now for your procrastination?
I think so.